It is a nondescript building, but behind the grey exterior of the Royal Free Hospital is the UK's front line against the Ebola virus. The first British victim of the disease will be treated in this tented isolation unit, the only one of its kind in the country. The bed is sealed off from the outside world to protect medical staff and stop the highly infectious virus from spreading to the general population.
What I would like to emphasise is that the risk of Ebola virus infection to the population of this country remains very low and is not changed by this decision. The precautions are what I describe as belt and braces. We want to be absolutely certain that there is no risk of infection by this patient of others.
It's understood the charity worker became infected whilst working in Sierra Leone. It's just one of the countries in West Africa in the grip of an Ebola epidemic. Since the outbreak began, the UN says more than 1,400 people have died. Initial symptoms are a sore throat and fever, which turn into severe internal bleeding as the virus attacks organs and tissues. But it's not an airborne virus, so it can only be transmitted through bodily fluids, such as blood, vomit and sweat. That's why health workers are at risk. It can take up to 3 weeks for symptoms to appear after a person is infected.
There is no cure for Ebola virus despite the various experimental drugs that we've heard about recently. So the doctors that are looking after this patient will be focusing on maintaining the patient as clinically stable as they possibly can, and if there are any secondary infections like pneumonia or a fungal infection, they'll be treating those. But that isn't a treatment for Ebola virus itself. Whether the patient survives Ebola virus or not depends largely on how good their own immune system is.
Today is a miraculous day.
Doctors will be encouraged by the recovery of American aid worker Dr. Kent Brantley. He was flown back to the United States and given a revolutionary experimental medicine. It isn't known whether the British victim will be given access to the same treatments. The Department of Health says the risk to people in the UK is minimal, but that's not the case in West Africa. Their medical facilities are overwhelmed as the disease continues to spread and claim lives.